Sunny and breezy on this Saturday afternoon here at Gulfstream Park West. The main track fast. Turf still in the process of drying out. No grass racing on the program, but some good-sized fields here over the next few hours in Miami Gardens as we approach the, well, I think day number 15. That feels and sounds about right to me. And Ron Nicoletti, Jason Blewett, by the way, good to have your company, everybody. As again, Ronnie, over the next few hours, we'll run 10 total races, gearing up and moving ever so close to not only the championship meet, but the Breeders' Cup in 2 weeks.
Yeah, so things are moving forward. Wish we were on the turf today, but at least we're dealing with a fast main track. And as you mentioned, 10 races. Got a really nice jackpot guarantee in the Rainbow Six a little later on. So things are looking up for me.
Pretty formful Stronach 5 yesterday. It still paid quite well. You needed that $12 winner, 5-1 shot out at Santa Anita Park. And if you were able to string together, again, 5 winners, you got nearly $700. And Ronnie, keep in mind, I mean, that's with 2 odds-on favorites, both paying $320, and an even money shot who paid $420.
Yeah, it's just amazing how this thing pays. It's, 600. Pete is right. This is truly Overlay City.
Unbelievable. I mean, seriously. I mean, you had a stone cold 3-5 shot win our race,
right,
and our Uncle Eric, who did look pretty solid on paper and wired the field. Get a $3 winner out at Golden Gate Fields and almost $700. We'll do it again next Friday afternoon as we approach Halloween here in Miami Gardens. Now, looking at the Rainbow Six pool that Ronnie touched upon a few seconds ago, we're upping the ante today. It's a Saturday after all, and we'll have 6 figures, in fact, guaranteed at a cool $100K. That'll start in the 5th race, and the early pick 5 starts a lot earlier than that. We're about 50 minutes away from the race number 1 start time. I'm using 3 horses in the first. We'll talk more about the field in a second. Early on, I wonder if there's some Paco money, and very early on, by the way, with the 9, Rich's Rags, who hasn't run in well over a year. I've got that horse 4th, but felt pretty comfortable with the 3 that I used. 2-horse spread for me in the second. I was just saying to Ronnie, I really think the 11 Diamond Bachelor is going to run today. I just don't see Safi bringing him back, and he's highly unlikely to get claimed at this stage for $12,500. And I'm going to aim for a mild upset in a race that is very much really centered upon the number 2 Robin Taken Charge, who was with the track and could not win last time out on that opening day program. Was the 3rd, Ronnie, confusing to you? Because, I mean, you got a 12-horse dirt sprint cast of 2-year-old maidens. I've got a 1/3 of the field, but that race really gave me fits.
Yeah, I have my long shot in there actually
nice.
today.
That's a good shop-around race.
Yeah, and it's the one highly noted from Gilberto Zerpa. Thought I'd take a little bit of a shot with that horse. Hit the gate at the start, but that is by far one hard race to handicap.
No, I'm glad you got your long shot there. That does strike me as a potential blow-up chaos race. Quite the contrary from where I sit with the race 4 bound This Dude's No Fool, who was just way against the track and had a number of, I think, relevant and major obstacles in his way last time out for Bob DeBona. And then I've got a 3-horse spread and a $36 ticket, given that 4-horse spread in the 3rd. That certainly increased the overall ticket price, but again, if I can get This Dude's No Fool home in the 4th, maybe I got a shot to hit this thing. Now, looking at the first race, I think the first point of reference, or at least discussion, Ronnie, and your top pick, in fact, is part of it. You've got, I think, a pretty important 3-horse rematch from that opening Sunday card, October 4th. That was a race won by Apache, who basically won from here to Bimini, but Extra Dough, who you like, and a couple of other horses like the 7 Macon Legacy and somebody else in this race is coming out of that field as well. They were all basically against the track and a horse who, again, was just so much the best in that field.
Yeah, Extra Dough is turning back to the 3/4 of a mile, debuting locally and finishing that distant second behind Bias Aided, much the best winner, Apache, going 6.5. Mike Yates, Jesus Rios in the saddle today. I used Scotch Whiskey in second. I thought was a logical contender. And you have on top of your ticket, I thought that one went nice for Kelsey Dana. Angel Arroyo up and making a legacy. Give it one more shot, trying to break his maiden. He's rallied to finish 3rd, but he's 0 for 27, so I backed off him a little bit.
It seemed, though, like even though he's getting up there in losses and almost, 30 races without a win, but it seemed like his form through August, mid-September, was pretty good, and I would dare to say he was in the best form of his life and basically lost any real legitimate chance with that bad start over that speed-friendly track. So I think he's dangerous. You've got the 8 Scotch Whiskey, who I like in for the 10, and the other horse, of course, from that October 4th race is on the outside at 60-1. That's why I forgot about him and Adiosia. What do you do with the 9, Rich's Rags? I like the connections. I don't like the layoff, though.
Yeah, I backed off it for that exact reason with the layoff. I just been watching the board. He's sort of been favored. I don't know if he will be favored, but taking that early money always something to keep an eye on when you're putting the early pick 5 ticket together.
Now, the second, we're off the turf, 7 on the dirt, dated 12-5 claimer for horses that have not won a race over the last 6 months. The deserving favorite in this race is the 2 Robin Taking Charge, and although this horse may have been with a very speed-friendly, bias-aided track last time out, did run fine, and I got no issue with him, and you're going to take him as the favorite.
Yeah, you know, he set the pace and was beating just that neck against those 12-5 condition claimers. He tried his best. I just going to go back off that, especially with the, at 7/8 of a mile. I didn't know what to do with the number 11 in here with Safi. I looked at it. I just said, this horse, it just didn't intrigue me. I put it up further down on my ticket. So I used 4th Design and second, who's stretching out to 7. Duel for Lead finished 3rd behind that horse Trapezoid, who came back to win on Wednesday, and Benefactor, who you have further down your ticket.
Yeah, the 11 Diamond Bachelor is just a connections play for me. Like I was saying, I don't see Safi bringing this now soon-to-be 10-year-old who has not won a race since October 1st of 2016. I don't see Safi for Frank Calabrese bringing this horse back if he didn't think there was a chance he'd run this afternoon. And with Edgar riding, I'm going to try to wake Diamond Bachelor up. But believe me, I mean, you're talking 4 years plus since he was last in the winner's circle. We'll see what happens there.
Yeah, so, if he wins, I would not be shocked. Put it that way.
He's got a ton of back class, and, it's Safi and Edgar, the reasons I picked him. But, again, it's going to go one of two ways with him, and I totally understand your hesitation. Your long shot is housed in the 3rd. This might be a good fool-around race because you've got a dozen 2-year-old 16K maiden claimers on the dirt at 5.5 furlongs, so much so that I landed on a Canterbury Prairie Meadows shipper in the 6th, Good Boy Roy, who after really deliberating for quite some time, I finally said, you know what, he's coming in, he's got Miguel, and maybe he just makes the lead in this race. I want the potential speed along with the number 3 Competitive Hero.
Yeah, I mean, I have him further down my ticket for the reasons you meant, and I used Highly Noted, who's 8-1, as I mentioned on the morning line, dropping a notch after an eventful outing against $20,000 maidens, going 5 here on that sealed sloppy track. He hit the gated start. He was in tight quarters at the 3/16th pole, and he still managed to finish 2nd in that race. So Gilberto Zerpa is the trainer, as I mentioned, giving Joe Trios the mount again for the return assignment. So I just thought maybe with a clean trip in a wide open field, let's go for a price.
61's towards the outside. In fact, is on the outside. He's the 12. He's the Shackelford firster. I've got 2nd. Paco riding for Francisco D'Angelo piqued my interest a little bit. I know he's got a tough road to hoe from out there, but this might be the kind of race that in the blink of an eye has quite a bit of separation. And if this horse is live today with Paco riding, might be a candidate to be up close and in that first flight. So I'm going to go 6-12. Ronnie's long shot. He's 110, and we'll see what, again, shakes out in a very interesting 3rd race. The 4th this afternoon will go at 7 furlongs. It's a 2-year-old $50,000 to $40,000 maiden claimer. And our first replay on the day has to do with the horse you and I both picked, Ronnie. In fact, a cold 6-4 for both of us. We're going to go back to This Dude's No Fool and his Gulfstream Park West debut back on October 8th. And I pulled his race from this point on because this was a period where the inside was very, very live, and you'll really get the proof of that with the winner, Advanced Cash, who just draws away. And it almost looked like everybody else in this field in mid-stretch was on a treadmill. I mean, just running in place and going nowhere. And even if the inside wasn't at this October 8th point the favorable spot to be, this is still a pretty demanding trip for any maiden or any horse to pull, just being on that 4 to 5 wide chase. But you can watch Advanced Cash, Ronnie, the gray in the lead. He turns for home, kind of drifts down towards the inside. And here's my point. at how live the inside was, I mean, everybody else is just almost like standing still. You know what I mean? I think this horse, major excuse last time out.
Yeah, and you know, he's dropping to the 50 level. You know, he was really good 2 starts back. The front he looked really sharp across town. He comes back. You saw that performance right there. Bobby DeBona has Edgar Zayas in the saddle, and I thought, like you, that was good. This horse was going to rebound today. Super Frolic Flash is the son of Super Saver, debuting for Ralph Nix with the 12 morning workout showing. I found the stat with Ralph with his 2-year-old first-time starters, maiden claimers on the dirt. He's 11 for 45, 24%, 44% in the money, and still a positive return on investment, 278. And what a great year he's been having with his 2-year-old runners.
Yeah, absolutely no. I mean, Ralph's got the best 2-year-old we saw all summer long down here in 2020 in Breeze on By. And Ralph not only very adept at winning first out, certainly has his finger on the pulse as to where to place his unraced maidens. And you would imagine with the Misael riding, this horse will be live for maiden 50 this afternoon. In fact, not the only Super Saver first-time starter we're going to see on the day, Ronnie. We've got a half-brother to Tappet coming up a bit later for trader Steve Dwoskin.
Yeah, you know, when I was doing the pre-work on this, I kept going back and saying, wait, is this Tappet? Is this that? So I went and actually looked at Tappet reading. I thought it was some kind of misprint. And I said, no, it's Tappet's half-brother.
Well, you'll hear from trader Steve Dwoskin a bit later this afternoon on the prospects of that horse, and we'll take a little breather back with the Rainbow Six in just a second.
And they're off. Second in the 2-path. Ground ball first inside. Race. A quarter of a mile to go, and he's 6 yards out. Last of the 12 as they roll into the backstretch.
Play online with the Breeders' Cup Betting Challenge over at expressbet.com as Ronnie and Jason welcome you back. It is act number 2 on this live Saturday edition of Gulfstream Park West today. And with the Breeders' Cup weekend, that Friday and Saturday card of championship racing at Keeneland 2 weeks away, it's a good reminder as well as we hit or are on the verge of hitting November, Ronnie, on this circuit. We've got, aside from Breeders' Cup weekend and the following Saturday with the Sunshine Millions preview, we've got a couple of stakes races to be had on that Breeders' Cup Saturday, November 7th. One of them, the Showing Up Stakes, named for a horse that I was just a very big fan of for trader Barkley Tagg, who all these years later is Breeders' Cup bound with Tis the Law.
Yeah, so that'll be on Saturday, November 7th. So you can, bet these stakes races along with the Breeders' Cup, and it'll make a fun Saturday afternoon.
Do you remember Showing Up running?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, because he won a bunch of stakes down here. Good turf horse and dirt horse, in fact, for Barkley and Lael Stables. I think he was in the same crop as Barbaro, actually. Anyway, we'll digress. We move on to the Rainbow again, first time since last weekend when somebody took this thing down for a cool $250K. We've got 6 figures waiting for all of you in the pool. 20 cents gets you in the door, and how's the ticket looking?
43.20 for me, and I went 3 deep in here, which is usually my case in the opening leg. Don't like to get knocked out. I went with the 4 Guaco, the 12 Bahamian Beat, and the 10 Dio Forte. In race number 6, just 2 in there, Catch on Emotional and Moon Lander for me. And in race number 7, 2 deep again with Just Kidding and Charlie the Greek. Charlie the Greek, one of those horses, if I bet him, he loses. If I don't bet him, he wins. So we'll see how that works out. Race number 8, I think 15, Mandamus, going to be ridden by Paco Lopez today, is the one to beat, but I used Princess Betty and La Rusia in there. Race number 9, waiting to see Artie's Rose run along with Queen Domina. And in the nightcap, just the 3 horses I thought were going to run well with Pricey Victory, Jack B. Winkle, and Colossal Storm.
All right, sounds good. 43.20 for Ronnie's ticket. This opening leg of the Rainbow, the jumping off point, is turf or no turf. is really about the number 10, Dio Forte, and how you feel you should proceed. I do like the connections here, without a doubt, with Edgar riding a horse that's got plenty of back class. It has been a horse that has run fine. He's a better turf horse, but he's run fine on the dirt. I opted, even though he hasn't run in almost 4 months and was claimed for more than the 12.5 that he's starting for today, I'm going to take him as the favorite.
Yeah, the barn, they're over 30% with new claims. Has the Gelding firing bullets up at Palmettos in preparation for this try on the dirt this afternoon. I had this one on top of my ticket when I had it for the turf. I moved it around a little bit and went with the 4 Guaco.
Do you just not trust him as much on the dirt? Is it as simple as that?
Yeah, that was exactly it. Because, I just look back and I see turf. Now, good connections, like you said. So I made sure I added him to the ticket. But I thought there was different ways to go. The horse you have a little further down, and Guaco cuts back to 5 after drawing clear. He walloped those 12.5 maidens going 7 in the slop. Paul Copage, 6 for 19, 32% this year, as Alberto Burgos handling the gelding that runs well on the fast track, too. So I'm going with the speed in there. Bahamian Beat looks like a major player in there. He's dropping to this 11, cut back to 5. He vied for the lead. He tied to finish. That was against those 25 2 lifetime claimers. So that's the way I saw the race play out. We're sort of in agreement on just boxing.
Yeah, no, I mean,
around.
we boxed up the 4 favorites, led, of course, by Dio Forte. I like the form your horse is in, and he's properly spotted against winners and all that stuff. I worry about 5 on the dirt being just a little too short for him.
Yeah, we'll see how he's going. Just the barn. I looked down today when I was doing it. I said, boy, this barn has been going really good. So we'll see how it plays out in there. I used all 3, so made sure I got out of the Rainbow 6 with some coverage.
We'll move on to the second half of the card. Half-mile pole run begins with race number 6. This is the race with Tappett's little brother, and in fact, the last foal out of Tap Your Heels, who unfortunately passed away a few years back. Now, I didn't use the 7 Kid Tappett, who, and you'll hear from Steve Dwoskin later this afternoon, it sounds like he may need a race or 2 to really get going. The field is really, though, centered upon the Pletcher First of the 3 Moonlander and the speedy number 6 Catch On Emotional. And I've just got a 2-horse spread the remainder of the way. I'm trying to look and see if I've got a price. I don't think I do. I don't think I really have anything out of the ordinary, although I think the one No Getting Over Me is going to has license to rebound and get back on track. He's a horse that's been almost maddeningly inconsistent, yet he's off a layoff at a trader change to Victor Barboza. He's one I think worth including. Now, if you're playing the late pick 5 Indoor Rainbow, you're probably including both Todd's horse, the 3 Moonlander for the lows, who's got a good pedigree, as well as the 6 Catch On Emotional. Truth be told, Ronnie, in a regular or during a different meet, I probably wouldn't have picked the 6 Catch On Emotional in this spot, because there is a little worry of mine that a good firster realistically spotted and all that stuff for this time of the year, and just looking at things realistically, will likely beat the 6 Catch On Emotional. But what swayed me in his direction, I don't know if you feel the same, it's just the early speed that he's got in a race of unknowns over this track.
Well, that's exactly it. Going back to the main track after following the pair of really solid $50,000 sprints on the dirt, chases the pace, finishes second against Special Weight Company going 5 on the turf. The trainer is Johnny Collins, and he's got Angel Arroyo in there. But Moonlander, I found a stat on Todd Pletcher. With his first-time starters, 3-year-olds and up on the dirt at Gulfstream Park West, 7 for 21, 33%, 57% in the money, and almost a $2 return of investment. So, boy, you saw my ticket. I had to use both of these on there. I would not, once again, be shocked if Todd won it.
Todd won a couple of races. I had noticed one for Rapoli Stable up in New York yesterday. He is sitting at 4,994 wins, so 6 away from joining that 5,000 club. And Moonlander, the first foal out of a dam, who as a 2-year-old had cost over $1 million. I remember her running for Mark Cassie, and she only ran twice before going to the breeding shed. But again, I think you've got to realistically approach Moonlander, that this horse, even with that pedigree, isn't at Belmont right now. But doesn't have to be a monster to make an impact here, you know?
The other thing that I liked about this horse, you look at its workouts. This horse was never taken out of South Florida. All his works are here in South Florida, so maybe he needed some time to get going. It's not a horse that they took to Belmont, took to Keeneland, brought to Saratoga. He's been here. He's ready to go, and that thing that sort of sold me on liking this horse maybe a little bit more.
Yeah, no, I hear you for sure. But again, at some point, someone's going to have to reel in our top pick, the number 6, Catch On Emotional. Moving on to the 7, Florida Bred Allowance Optional Claimer. Kind of a grab bag here. You've got horses off layoffs, horses taking dips in class. You've got some former lower-level claimers like the 5 Just Kidding, who are pretty sharp right now and stepping up and going for a fairly rich purse of almost $40,000. And I wanted to give some respect here and absolutely dude and worthy respect to the number 5 Just Kidding. We're going to venture 3 starts back with this horse, but he's one of these true blue, razor sharp, always hard-nosed, gritty veterans of the South Florida racing scene. In fact, he's a Florida bred by Kiss the Kid. And this race we're looking at back in the middle of August was his 10th lifetime win. He's an easy route, and clearly, Ron, I mean, he's your top pick. He's really sharp right now for Jorge Delgado.
Well, he was beaten ahead at this level of against this level of competition 2 starts back. He drops now. He dueled early and held on to finish 3rd behind Noble Drama, who's a really nice horse. That was in the $150,000 Wildcat Air last time out. Jorge Delgado, as you mentioned. Embassy El Jaramillo handled this, what you said, hard-knocking 8-year-old. So I put him right on top of the ticket. And I mentioned earlier, I didn't know what to do with Charlie the Greek. He's popular in the claiming box. Now he's in Peter Walder's barn. He tries a 2-turn mile. Failed to fire behind Just Kidding when they hooked up at this level across town. I just think with Paco, Peter Walder getting together, and this horse every once in a while runs a good one.
No, and the kind of horse very much cut from the same cloth as a Just Kidding. But also, taking that a step further, this is the kind of old pro that Peter tends to do well with these older geldings that, again, have a little bit of mileage on the odometer and tons of backlash to go around. I mean, he's got a knack for teasing some of that backlash out. No, Charlie the Greek's an interesting player, as is the other Peter Walder horse and the 2 Resident, who I've got 3rd. I'm going back. I'm going to give another chance, or at least try, to the rail posted number 1, No Getting Over Me. I know there's talent in there. This horse has kept pretty good company in context to this field basically since day 1, and it just seemed like after that tough loss back in June to the Todd Pletcher-trained Roman Empire, then the 50-to-1 shot, taking a stab in the Indiana Derby, it just seemed like things really fell apart quickly for No Getting Over Me. I don't really even care about the trainer change from Safi to Barboza. It's not that. I like the notion of taking a step back, recalibrating things, and bringing him back into this race fresh. And I'm hoping we get something more in line with just the quote-unquote good No Getting Over Me.
Yeah, I mean, if he runs back to some of those numbers, and when he was with Safi, they thought enough to try this horse in a graded stakes race. You would think I picked him last time, and he didn't run that well.
Didn't think he could lose last time, and he just went through the motions out there. We'll see. Getting a little time away from the entry box, see if that gets him back on track. We'll move on to race number 8, fairly late in this 10-race program. We're off the turf. We'll go 7 on the dirt, and I am hoping Safi has a big day. I like him in the 2nd from the outside, and I am a fan of his number 3, Antigone, who has just run fine. In context, I think, in relation to this field, has run fine in her 2 races since coming in from the West Coast. And again, she was also compromised last time, racing outside and trying to close from off the pace against a field way tougher than this, against an inside that was very strong. So I'm with Antigone, although you clearly have a number of options that were entered as main track onlys on the outside, including your top pick, the 5 Mandamus, who's in off a good recent race against Independent Miss.
You're going to stretch out to the 7 furlongs after returning from the layers for Victor Barboza Jr. and finishing that set to pace 2nd, going 6.5 furlongs. The jockey changed today. Paco Lopez will ride because I believe that Edgard's riding your top pick in here, so we'll have Paco Lopez about atop the 15. And I thought Princess Betty could run, who's who's going to the Mike Maker barn after the claim, stretching out to this distance of 7/8, stalked, finished third against Simler, going 6.5. They were trying to get this horse on the turf, but ran well on the dirt last time out. Hector Barrios is going to ride the daughter of Kozan.
Yep, one of two key and fairly late positioned runners for trainer Mike Maker on this program, because we'll flip the page. We'll move on to the ninth. I think this one goes as the quote-unquote technical feature, and a pretty solid one at that. Nice matchup between the Mike Maker train, number 5, Artie's Rose, who she's knocking heads against the rail posted number 1, Whole Bodemeister, who you may have missed whole Bodemeister. I'll make a case for her in a second. But I'll send it to you. I mean, here's Artie's Rose in her main track debut, and the connections clearly going into this race we're about to view from October 10th showed some confidence, putting her on the dirt, even though her career debut was on the turf in Kentucky, and she was good riding the rail to victory. I think she's got some quality.
Yeah, so she's stepping up to face the winners. She followed that debut maiden race on the Ellis Park turf with a late closing. You're seeing it right here. Maiden victory going 6.5 on that sealed sloppy track. She had a fight for it throughout. Sammy Camacho returning on the daughter of We Miss Artie. So I just thought up that performance. I would put this one on top of my ticket.
I respect her. I really like the one Whole Bodemeister in this spot, whose speed down on the inside. I think she showed quite a bit of promise in her two maiden races at Gulfstream over the summertime. Mainly, I'm keying off that performance July 11th, now 2 back. She had won a race that day. There were 5 next out maiden special weight winners in the race that she won July 11th, and clearly was a little out of her element, shipping to Ellis. It's funny, Ronnie, and I think she'll be co-favorite in this race. She's going to take a lot of money. You've got 2 basically last-out Ellis Park runners vying for favoritism in this field today.
Yeah, excuse me, I got to sneeze. Oh, got it.
All right, good. You good?
Excuse me, this air conditioning's getting right now. Sorry about that.
No,
folks.
that's all right. God bless you. You got Queen Domina. We should mention her. I didn't think my reaction to looking at this race was this might be too deep of a spot in terms of just overall class and quality for the 2 Queen Domina, but watching Rohan Crichton trained horses win 3 races here yesterday. I mean, clearly this is a barn that is just batting around 40% and just on a huge run.
Yeah, and stepping up to face winners after that solid $50,000 debut across town in which he drew clear. She won it by 5.5 lengths. 4, as you mentioned, Rohan Crichton. You got Joe Trejo going for 2 in a row in there. And Foolish Heart is stepping up to face winners. Boy, this horse was nice. It was against 16 maidens, but it's Carlos David, so I threw this one on the ticket.
Her speed, maybe that helps subvert some of the horses in here. If she's not as talented as the Maker horse or Maya Villa horse on the rail, maybe her early speed offsets the difference in ability. We'll see. It's a really interesting and very solid 9th race. And we'll wrap things up here. A 2 lifetime 6250 claimer. And I'm back to Peter Walder in this spot. And drawing up the race, I just want speed. I took the 7 Colossal Storm, who's a private buy from Steve Asserson and now owned and trained by Peter, and I put that horse over the deuce, Hard West, who, speaking of Rohan Crichton off that 3-win Friday, he's back in the mix with the horse I thought would just run a little bit better than he did here on opening weekend.
Yeah, and I went with Pricey Victory going to the Gilberto Zarpavon after the claimed debuts locally, posting that well-meant 3rd, beating the neck at this level and distance across town. 30% about thereabouts with new claims. He's got his go-to jock, MCL Jaramillo, in the saddle.
All right, as we go to our go-to announcer, the big man upstairs, Pete Aiello, for those Saturday scratches and changes here at Gulfstream West.